Yeah, what's up, Brew Roots listeners? We're here for another episode. And
we are.
Believe it or not, we're actually all in person, not virtual.
It's beautiful.
But the virtual episode that we did
that was fun.
With Twin Elephants.
Yeah.
Cindy's awesome.
She's the best.
She's really rad.
If you're ever in New Jersey, please find them.
Yeah, I can't wait to go to New Jersey because she was talking about pizza and
pizza, yeah.
Pizza's life, you know?
It is.
If I had any tattoos, they'd be pizza themed. Every single one of them.
All of them.
Yeah, but Erica, you had a pretty cool weekend.
I did.
Yeah, tell us about where you went.
So I went to, she's into beer, Women in Beer Summit, I guess you would say. It's the first one.
It was in Connecticut, right?
In Connecticut, it's in Manchester. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. You saw our girl Cherokee.
I did, yeah, definitely.
Shout out to her, what up?
Definitely hit her up, find that episode.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. We just talked about beer. It's kind of basically a supportive summit for women in the industry and a lot of good networking. Went to Labyrinth after, which was awesome. They have really good beer.
Yeah.
Definitely would recommend.
Nice.
And that's all I got.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have.
Was that fascinating?
I have not been drinking as much beer as I would like to because I've been drinking cocktails.
Oh, has that been your thing right now?
Yeah, I just keep on going back to anything with mezcal. And
mezcal's great.
I love mezcal.
Yeah.
I know you're not a big fan of smoky flavors, right?
No, I'm not.
Do you like tequila?
No.
Well,
negative.
More mezcal for me.
That's like one of the last drinks of the night I'll have because at that point it doesn't matter.
Care.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
AJ, how do you feel about mezcal?
Love it. Yeah. I'm a big tequila bourbon guy. I'm not a huge spirit person. So when I do, I make it count.
Yeah.
We actually did a mezcal barrel aged Belgian triple last year.
Oh, fuck
That is amazing.
Yeah, that was kind of like my project. Like we had spoken a moment ago about barrels, and it was like we're trying to kind of fill a pallet up. You pay for the pallet whether there's one or more on there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just got a mezcal barrel that was like my jam for the year, and then it came out super great. I think the last 2 bottles I popped at a wedding reception because somebody had said that it was like
damn. I wish it was mine.
Yeah. They were like, you did this beer. I was like, oh, this beer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Ryan, what have you been drinking?
Oh, geez. Let's see. There was one Sunday.
Jesus Christ.
Buckle in.
Sit down, folks.
I went to Great Marsh, then I went to True North, and then I went to Channel Marker, and then I went to Old Planners, and then I went to Night Shift, and then I went to Mighty Squirrel.
How many R's did anyone hear?
0.
I know. I didn't hear any. That's crazy.
Yeah, you had all the beers, kid, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's wicked awesome.
To give you an idea, I think the night started at like 11 in the morning.
The night. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the night.
And then it ended at 10:30 the next morning.
It basically it ended whenever Mighty Squirrel closes on Sundays. I got there an hour before they closed.
They must have loved you.
But I had their award-winning Oktoberfest.
Was it award-winning in your book?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Wow.
Sick.
I love that.
They just won a GABF.
Yeah.
Which for
Pretty crazy.
Martin, that's cool.
So they had a Martin and then they had a fest. They had 2 different ones on their menu. So they really released one in the beginning and then they came out with this one.
Nice.
Completely different. And they're 2 very different beers. It was great. I was glad that they tasted different.
Good story.
I'm full of them.
You really are.
AJ, what have you been fucking with?
Low fills mostly.
Yeah.
We have a pretty solid lager program, so everything that we do, like usually, I get a handful of cases of. They just like
nice.
fill my fridge.
I love that for you.
I don't know. I'm kind of cheap, so when I'm out of my beer, it's like PBR and Narragansett and all the good stuff. But
nothing wrong with that.
What about Miller High Life?
I'm a big High Life guy.
Do you spaghetti about it?
Yeah, do you spaghetti?
I don't like the Tim and Eric thing.
Oh yes, but I'm glad that you know that. Oh, spaghetti. Our listeners are all simultaneously rolling their eyes.
They're like, oh, here we go.
We actually have a sticker available, and we want to do T-shirts.
We'll definitely give that to you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Aperol.
Yeah.
And you put it in the neck of the Miller High Life. Take a big swig.
Okay.
Put a lemon in there. Shake it up.
Oh, nice.
That's great.
Lime, not lemon.
I'm trying to get Ryan to say daddy, but I would say daddy likes if Ryan can actually say it.
I'm trying to think. The like the nicest thing. We had a guy that was with us for a couple of years doing our tasting room. He moved on to Kettlehead in Tilton, which are good friends of ours.
Yep.
So we just did like like a bottle share on his last day, and there was some Anchorage. I brought some Hill stuff that had way too much dust in my fridge.
Yep.
So it was just like that stuff.
There you go, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like let's just open it up and see where we wind up. Yeah. Anytime I get out of town, I always have spots I go to.
Yeah.
I go to Philly quite regularly. So like Suarez is a must hit.
Yep.
I just got my eyes on Drowned Lands. They're the next stop for me.
Sweet.
Yeah. Love City. You've been to Love City in Philly? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Love it.
What's your? I'm wearing a Philly cheesesteak shirt right now. Do you have a favorite cheesesteak?
I do not. I actually, I'm not a big cheesesteak guy. I just, I like them all.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good answer. Good answer. All right.
Or not. It could be the worst answer, honestly.
I'm a Jim's,
Oh, I just ate a straight Steakums from like the local store. I was just, like super pumped with it. Like I'm fine.
Yeah. Philly's a cool place. We want to go down there and
Do this
explore that beer
down
scene.
there.
Yeah.
Human robot, man. Human robot all the way.
Yeah.
Like last time I went down to Philly, I drove directly into the city, directly to Germantown.
Yeah.
Parked and walked in, and
Yeah.
my friends were mad at me.
I stayed at a hotel that's like a block away from Monk's Cafe.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, this is a problem. All right. Enough about the Philly beer scene.
On
It's
to the
rad.
episode.
It's rad as fuck.
We're not in Philly.
Where are we?
Vermont.
Vermont. What is specific? Where are we in Vermont?
So right now we're in Tunbridge, Vermont. Most notably known for the World's Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody kind of has heard of it. It's just an agricultural fair that happens, from here 2 minutes down the road. Good reason for all the farmers and the people to kind of like come out of the cracks, and then you get to see that cool like intermingling of like angsty teenage rural kid and then like the farmers, and it's a very interesting dichotomy.
The amount of American spirits smoked that weekend. So specifically, we are at Upper Pass, but this is not your tasting room because you're in a bit of a transition.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So our tasting room closed down a couple of weeks ago. We're actually tomorrow going to be moving it 2 doors down. We have a friend of ours that did all of our food for us when we were doing service before COVID. He's opening up a brick and mortar. We are not involved in it in any way. We're just going to be heavily featured.
Cool.
Love that.
Yeah. So it's like 10 taps. We'll have a little retail there. Like none of us are working.
Are you going to brew
Gotcha.
there?
No, so we're going to continue brewing. We're going to continue brewing here. Vermont has this really weird law about satellite tasting rooms, and they say it's to protect Vermont from like Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah.
So if Anheuser-Busch wanted to come into every town and put a 5-barrel in a tasting room, they're going to do that. They have the money to. What it hurts is because we don't produce in the 4 walls of our tasting room, it's 4-ounce pours, it's 8-ounce pours. You can't do full pints.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a way that we can do full pints and have a full tasting
Gotcha.
room without owning it.
So
You
you
have
don't
to have a
have-
separate. You have to have a separate production facility.
Yeah. If you do,
It sounds like a mess.
It's just like
Yeah.
it's like the old days of breweries. Like you go tie little things and you just buy stuff to.
yeah. And then there's Tide Law. Like if one of my bosses owned a restaurant, we couldn't sell the beer to that restaurant.
Huh.
So that's where like Zero Gravity and American Flatbread had a really hard time because they were co-owned, but you would never see Zero Gravity there.
Interesting. Huh.
yeah.
That's good to know.
Noted.
Yeah.
So now everything happens here. Like, I feel like you guys are like a really...
No.
Okay, thank you. That's what I thought, but I was like...
Yeah, because you have quite a presence in
I don't
Vermont. I
know.
was like, oh.
Yeah.
And outside of Vermont, I feel like...
So kind of the quick and dirty is, so this is an old sheep shearing shed.
Oh, by the way, we're at Upper Pass Brewing Company. I don't know if we mentioned that before, but
Yeah,
that's
hey.
where we're at. Yeah.
Welcome.
welcome, yes.
The often guarded Upper Pass Brewing. We don't really tell people about this brewery. And there was one time, it was the last summer or the summer before, the guy in the tasting room was just like, oh yeah, blah, 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 Ordway. And that's all the guy needed to hear. And got on Google. And
like,
next thing I
found
know,
you
there's
guys?
like him and his wife and like
Oh my
little
God.
shoes like, hey.
No.
Yeah. So, hey, come on in. Let's have a beer.
Yeah, right.
Out the door. So Upper Pass started kind of in this building. It's an old sheep shearing shed that's one of the owners, Chris Perry's properties. This started with Alpha Ruby and like 4 1-barrel fermenters. And then the Psycho Brew moved in, which is a split 5. We just started hammering fermenters in here. the canning line came in. Right as COVID started.
It's a beautiful little canning line.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big machine for, we have it kind of like specially made, so it kind of goes this way. It can be kind of a mess.
Yeah.
But we took that, the 18-wheeler came over the Canadian border, and then the border shut down for COVID. So that was the last thing we did. We kind of brought it in, took a month to kind of like learn it, and then turned back on, and it arguably saved the company.
Yeah.
Because we were draft only out of this. Sorry, not the company, but saved what we're doing here.
Yeah.
So we have a split distribution model. Cloud drop, first drop, Fred's Red, move on up, all the stuff you find kind of ubiquitously out of state, in Shaw's, in the supermarkets. That's all done at Trap.
Okay.
So they realized pretty quickly that they weren't going to be able to keep up on a 1 barrel or even on a 5 barrel with the amount of demand. You know, it's kind of like the Lawson thing.
Yeah.
You know, like he was brewing in his shed and wanted to brew something other than Sip of Sunshine. So
Yeah, I don't blame him.
moving to Two Roads frees him up to do the double
the
and
other cool
triple,
things that he
and
does.
we've done a
Yeah.
couple of collabs with them. Like it frees them up to do that kind of cool
Yeah.
stuff.
So same thing for you guys.
Yeah, exactly. So we do recipe generation for Trap. So we used to have a line called Hip to the Hops. It was kind of our rotational. We're bringing that back.
Ooh, fun.
We kind of like picked one that we all remembered we liked, and then we test batched it here. And then that became 7 Deadlies, I believe. And then that is then going to go back to Trap.
Cool.
Kind of test it, make sure it works, try some new yeast. Just make sure it's, it's a good beer to put out.
Yeah.
And then it goes to massive production at Trap.
So you do one-offs here that you bring to like the restaurants that you're in, right? And you can some of it as well, I would assume, or no?
Yeah, so we can, like right now we're trying to find a good balance because we were canning too much and not having enough draft. And then, now we have too much draft and not enough can. So trying to find that balance.
Yeah.
Especially with what we refer to as stick season coming up here. So it's kind of, foliage is going away and the skiing hasn't started yet. So
That
it's
weird in-between time.
It's a super great time to do cool things.
Yeah,
to do cool projects.
What cool projects are you planning?
So
That you can speak of? Yeah.
We're trying to figure that out now. Some collaborations. Again, shout out to my friends at Kettlehead. I want to do a collaboration with them called Adult Karate Lessons.
Yes.
They do these really cool, I don't know if you've ever seen the Kettlehead videos. They do these like really fun, cool, way out of my comfort zone things. But I fully, they're good friends of ours. We brew beer with them. I want to do like a dumb double IPA, overly hopped, and then like have them do one of their funny videos.
Definitely.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I was texting with them, and then I just got a picture back of like the owner with like nunchucks.
Yes.
We are ready.
Yes.
Awesome. Some weird like Karate Kid, Cobra Kai, rip off completely.
Yeah. So in the spring, kind of the inverse of stick season, we were able to do a couple of cool projects. We did our first spontaneous beer.
Ooh, fun.
So we were doing a collaboration with a friend of ours, Andrew from Good Measure in Northfield.
Okay.
So Scott Kerner, the owner of Good Measure, and then my boss Chris Perry went to like elementary school down in Trenton together.
Gotcha.
Grew up together, moved up to Vermont, kind of apart from each other, but have stayed really good friends. We do a lot of collaborations with them. We're brewing a beer here. And he's like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. I got a cool ship. I was like,
Why didn't you tell us that sooner?
you don't just have a cool ship. He's like, oh, well, it's like a pan. It's up on top of that.
Oh, nice.
He's like, it's like a pan. I got it from Mike at Bent Hill. He made it. I've been using it like as a hop back. It's in my basement. The next week I was at Good Measure loading into the back of my truck. And then we have, with this kind of weird system, we have the ability to do a decoction or a turbid mash
Okay.
if we really wanted to.
Yeah.
So we did. And we racked it outside and let it cool. And then it went directly into a barrel. And we have a lot of freedom here that I can like go to my boss and be like, hey, we're going to try this. And he's like, okay. It might be terrible. It might be, and we're not going to find out for like a year.
Yeah.
He's like, okay.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. And we have been trying to get away from like just specifically one-offs. We're trying to find kind of our core. Like I'm a beer nerd at heart first, so it's like I know that when I go to the store, I want to see that new label. I want to see that new
Sure.
brewery.
Yeah.
So I have this hard thing where it's like let cloud drop and first drop be the thing that everybody sees. Let us do the weird stuff.
Yeah.
At the same time, like, I understand that we have a couple of brands that are doing pretty well. We have, so we try to figure out kind of like a core of like IPA, double IPA, you know, pale lager, sour that's available every month. Like, it's just available every month. And then our brewing schedule is such that frees us up to do another lager or a sour beer, you know, still
Almost.
be creative and free, you know, have the freedom to do stuff.
Those core brands keep the lights on.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to definitely get into what your core brands are, but we have to keep our lights on at the Brew Roots podcast. That was the best segue I've ever done.
The best.
So Ryan,
Take it away.
warm up the sponsor machine.
At our local homebrew shop, Beer and Wine Hobby, you can get everything you need to make beer, wine, cider, cheese, and more. Not sure where to start? They have knowledgeable staff there to help. Beer and Wine Hobby is family owned and located in Danvers, Massachusetts. Visit their website, beer-wine.com, and use our promo code BREWROOTS for 10% off your online order today.
Shirts on Tap is the box subscription service for craft beer lovers. Each month, Shirts on Tap partners up with 7 different breweries from across the country and collaborates on a sweet custom shirt design. We've been teamed up with Shirts on Tap since the inception of the podcast and are proud to announce a new promo code for all of our listeners. To get your first shirt for $5 off, go to the link in our description below and use the promo code. And remember, drink better beer, wear better shirts. And we're back.
Dun, dun, dun.
We just listened to all of Chocolate Starfish and the hot dog flavored water to get really pumped for this.
Yes.
I had the CD ready.
You did. Yeah. It had a couple scratches on it. We had to buff it out with it. We were thrashing around so much it skipped 100 times. But it was good nonetheless. Yeah, Fred Durst is a lyrical genius.
William Frederick Durst.
William Frederick Durst. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
If you take nothing away from my interview.
Yeah, seriously. So you mentioned off air that you were a bartender.
Yeah.
And I can already tell your passion, your knowledge for beer. Was being in the industry, and I say industry like loosely, kind of like your plan in life, or what did you want to do originally?
So originally I wanted to be an astronaut.
Yeah, same.
And then I found out I was too big. No, I
Thick is
that's true.
Yeah.
You can't be you have to be under 6 foot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
really?
of the tight spaces. So
Oh, that's bullshit.
yeah, it's not because I'm stupid. It's because I'm just too tall. I hated beer growing up.
Yeah.
Beer to me was Coors Light and Bud Light, and there's pictures of me at 5 holding an empty can while my uncle's like, ha 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 ha.
Classic.
Classic.
So I grew up doing retail and manufacturing. I went to school for printing. What actually brought me up to the area, I'm from Massachusetts originally.
Oh, what part?
A Natick.
Oh, the
yeah.
collection. How fancy.
So I cut my teeth working at the collection before the collection had apartments on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
What store?
Spencer's, Hot Topic. This was like late 90s, early
Classic.
2000s.
Oh, yes.
So it was like,
we knew when that was.
Yeah.
Did you have Jinkos?
Oh, so many.
Oh, I love this. I love this so much.
Jenkos, UFOs.
Love it.
I've been going through a lot of old photos with my sisters recently, and it's just like it's like Kangol hats and Echo T-shirts.
Yes.
And it's like,
The Kangol hat.
yeah.
The only one
Love
that's
it.
keeping Kangol is what's his name from Star Wars? Not Morgan Freeman.
Samuel L. Jackson. Oh
yeah. He can still pull it off.
Yeah. There's He could do like the fuzzy bucket Kangol hat.
Oh, yeah.
Kill
yeah.
it.
Man, I wish I had that confidence.
So I moved up here doing manufacturing, and then it's a newspaper, so I got laid off when it closed. And then I knew somebody that had a dive bar in the town that I was living in. I was like, man, come do this, make some money. And I just did it because I had nothing else to do. Met some cool people, kind of got introduced to beer in general, they started me on like PBR and like Long Trail, Blackberry Wheat, Harpoon, when Leviathan was its own separate thing.
Yeah.
Those were all I always say, those are training wheel beers. Those are without the Long Trails and the Harpoons. Now they're the same thing, but very few people pick up like a Moss Verde from River Roost as their first beer, and they're just like, whoa.
Right. I mean, that'd be cool if they did, but
so I kind of started with that, and then started like just kind of dipping my toe into it. Found Belgian beer. Belgian beer was definitely kind of my gateway, my full gateway into craft beer. And then I started working at a place that my boss, his name is Michael Redman. He worked for the Vermont Brew Pub with Kimmich and all those guys. He had written a book. He was working at 7 Barrel when 7 Barrel still existed in Lebanon, and kind of was just like, we were working third shift, and I was like, oh yeah. He's like, oh, what are you into? I was like, I kind of like beer. And just eyes lit up, arm around the shoulder, and like,
we're best friends now.
Yeah. I did my first beer on my stovetop with him.
That's awesome.
That didn't fully ferment out, and I dumped it down the drain, and
typical first beer.
Yeah. It was exactly perfect.
Yeah.
And then I found a brewing partner. I had a buddy that somebody that I knew, an acquaintance of, and I went to like an Alchemist truck sale and like got a case of Heady, Crusher, and they were putting on a show in his dad's carpet shop. And the bass player texted me. They're like, "Oh, you come to the show?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm at a Heady truck sale in Waterbury. I'll be down." He's like, "My guitar player says, you bring a 4-pack. You don't have to pay. You never have to pay again."
Oh my God.
So I did that, and then instant. He's my best friend to this day.
That's awesome.
We brewed beer for a while. He's like, "Oh yeah, I homebrew," and I was like, "Oh, dipping my toe into it." And then I just kept like showing up. I was like, "Oh, let me just hang out, watch you guys do your thing." And the guy that he was brewing with kind of flaked out, and I kind of came in, and we at one point were trying to open a brewery in New Hampshire, and then, I mean, you guys know the industry.
Oh yeah. It's not easy.
Yeah, you can't just do it on a wing and a prayer.
Right.
New Hampshire's not exactly live free or die with opening breweries.
It's terrible. And the town was like, we want it. We're like, cool. How do you help us? And they're like, oh, we have no idea.
No, you need to figure that out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because we've heard stories of towns being like, yeah, we don't get what a brewery is, so no, we don't want this. So.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I ran into that problem more locally.
Mm-hmm.
We tried to come over onto this side of the river, and there was a town that was like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Like the town that I live in, I was like, I have a farmhouse, I have a barn, farmstead.
Sure.
You're like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
We prefer it if you didn't.
Yeah. You don't have the crazies here. There'll be drunks everywhere.
Yeah.
Have you not heard of Hill Farmstead? Like, it works,
I had a really interesting conversation with Mike Gearhart once where I'd asked him about that, about like, you guys, you bring so much into the town, but like you bring a lot of potential issues into the town. He's like, we fully fund the after school program for Greensboro.
Oh,
He's like,
that's nice.
We don't do a big check and do an Instagram post about it, but we take care of it. And we found out like we funded the program, and then it was underutilized. And the town was like, well, they're all rural kids. They have no way of getting there. He's like, so we bought them a bus.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. And that's rad.
Yeah,
and
that is rad.
We take care of our stuff. We take care of our people. We take care of our area.
Yeah.
Everything kind of works out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We find that a lot. We've interviewed, even when we interviewed Alchemist, I felt like it was the same thing. It was like, we take care of our community. It's important to serve the community. Yeah.
I mean, as I say, I have a lot of opinions about beer, but that's where it's going. There's no
community
way.
Focused.
I have a very pre-prohibition ideology when it comes to breweries. It's like,
totally agree.
There's room for everybody.
Yep.
The honest way to the world.
Yeah.
Jay and Sean have an amazing place.
Mm-hmm.
They take care of the
it's
quality.
so humble. It's so small. It's the size of this brewery.
It's
right
so
here.
great. Yeah. And they have like shitty old Hill Farmstead fermenters that they've had for 7 or 8 years that they're just,
I believe it.
They're fermenters that they use. They don't even have pickup tubes.
That's great.
They just don't have pickup tubes.
And their beer's great.
The beer's fantastic.
It's amazing.
Yeah. That's my kind of idea of where beer's
Local
going.
watering hole.
5, 7, 10 barrel.
Definitely.
You take care of your area.
Yeah.
The people drive through. That's great. And they take
Sure.
it home and tell their friends.
Yeah.
But you see too much industry in this area specifically because it's a very touristy. You get a little bit further south, Queechee, Woodstock,
Yep.
Barnard, like it caters to
The tourist.
the people that are here 3 months a year or 3
Right.
weeks a year. And when you focus on that, your regulars don't come and put asses in seats when there's nobody here.
Yeah.
The sticks, as you.
Yeah, exactly. The stick season.
Yeah.
Like I said, I will talk endlessly.
So anyways, then you got a job here.
Then I got a job here. Yeah. So while I was home brewing, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Worthy Burger in South Royalton.
Yeah.
The Worthy Kitchen in Woodstock. So that's where I started bartending. About 2015, 2016, I made the decision that I wanted to be in beer. Like,
Nice.
Done.
fully, I didn't like what I was doing.
That was like the coolest time for beer, in my opinion. It's like
yeah,
before
I
things
was-
got really cool.
I was so beside myself. I was going to restaurants all the time. I was trading beer across the country. Doing, it's like that very like
The beer nerd thing, like
beer-
you were saying.
Fully
yeah,
beer nerd.
yeah.
Yeah, the
home
local
brewing like
post
crazy.
office always looked at me. No liquids or perfumes in there. Oh no.
maple syrup.
Yeah, maple
It's
syrup.
Vermont. No, it's maple syrup.
Actually, yeah, right?
Yeah. It's fragile. There's glass in there. It's
Yeah.
maple syrup.
Yeah.
So
I
smart.
look like I can pass, kind of.
Yeah,
Like, I mean,
yeah.
I
Tapped it myself.
Yeah, and then so Chris, one of the owners here, he was the bartender beer buyer for the Worthy Burger. While he was setting this up, I would just go in on Mondays and ask him what his water profile was, and he would kind of push me.
What?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And then so they knew that I was very. I was a person that knew about beer in the area, knew how to brew. And then they had hired Tim Curran, who was my brewing partner here, as their delivery guy. He was going around the state 5 days a week, moving all the cloud drop in the world.
Wow. Yeah.
And then he came in, he was here for about 9 months, a year by himself. And then they realized that they needed a second person. And then I came in.
Cool.
And I really feel like we're cranking. The system is manual at best. It's very no frills. One of the nice things about the Psycho Brew is that being a home brewer, you can walk in and be like, okay, this makes sense.
Right.
It's
right.
not like a full, like 60 hectoliter, like you go to Trap in the Rolex and it's just like,
What do I do? What buttons am I supposed to be pressing?
And then you go in and they're on the computer. They're like, no, it's over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a very manual system that you can kind of wrap your head around. And we have gotten this thing to sing.
Nice.
I was talking with the owner of Hoptimistic out of Springfield, New Hampshire at a brew festival recently. He's like, oh yeah, we got this open fire split barrel 5. He's like, oh, I got that too. And I was like, please don't tell me it's a Psycho Brew. He's like, yeah, it's great. And I was like, yeah, it's something. I
It's
love
something.
It. I love it, man. You get to love it eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we came in. Canner came in with COVID, right before COVID, and then we started canning pretty much everything. And that got us through a really serious spot. And now we're just trying to keep up. Seems like
Kind
everything.
of like starting over again, almost.
Yeah. And not really knowing. I was still kind of working for the restaurant at that time, not really knowing like what was going on.
What is life?
Yeah.
What do I do?
Are both of my jobs going to cease to exist?
Right.
And then everything seemed to be going really great here. So I kind of transitioned. It was just like 1 day a week at that point. It was just like,
Yeah.
I was only working here 4 days a week, so I could have a day off and like see my wife and kids.
What?
Yeah, I know.
What
right?
is that? That sounds terrible.
Yeah. So now been 3.5-ish years,
Very cool.
going pretty much full time here. We're not so. A lot of people think we are this huge brewery.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
you have
actually,
that illusion.
yes.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
really do.
And I really think there's a better we should have a better way of showcasing what it is we do. So the trap stuff, that's they do 600-800 barrels a month, depending out of trap.
It's crazy.
We broke 400 barrels last month. Wow. So we are
That's a
tiny.
lot.
Yeah, we are super tiny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if I'd want it any other way. Like,
Yeah.
this is the kind of brewing that I like to
Like
do.
you said, it's a lot of fun. Like you have those big things that keeps the light on, but then you're able to kind of do whatever you want. Like that's exciting, I think.
Yeah.
Within reason.
Well, of course, right?
I've had some
But-
ideas that like it's like you go for the craziness. So
Exactly.
like when you step it down one or two, they're like, all right,
It's still pretty
fine.
cool.
Yeah.
But like with the climate of the market right now, do you sometimes have to be the crazy one and try to? I mean,
Or not, or dumb
not.
it down
Yeah.
to fit.
So it's funny. So we all wear a lot of hats here. I work on social media. I'm a sales guy. I'm a brewer, cellarman, packager, like event coordinator.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't want to I don't know if I could just be a brewer or just be a cellarman or just be a package person, a packager. I forgot where I was going with that. Anyways, Yeah, I lost my train.
No,
of
so I
thought.
think you were saying dumbing down recipes or like changing things to maybe fit the.
Right. So we try to have a core IPA, double IPA, session IPA, sour, lager, always available, like as much as humanly possible. And then, 2 or 3 times a month, we'll do maybe another IPA, another lager, a collaboration. Really what you're seeing a lot right now is when you're talking with, with distributors or you're talking with restaurants, they're like, I have more IPAs than I know what to do with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I have sours for the next 6 weeks. Give me a wit. Give me a brown ale. Like, it's those, like, when I was working for Worthy, I worked for Worthy as a beer buyer. That's kind of my transition into this. You need those. You need that Imperial Stout. You need that Saison. You need that Belgian. You need those things for those people that come in that, like,
Those beer nerds.
but even like the people that are coming with beer nerds. So my mother-in-law likes Allagash White because when we went somewhere once, I was like, try Allagash White. And that's just what she gets when she goes places now.
Yeah.
Pretty good beer. Yeah, it's all right.
No, it's a great beer, but she
it's
doesn't
good
know.
beer, yeah.
Like,
Right.
she
That's
drinks,
her go-to now. She
Yeah.
knows she likes it. And that's
she drinks
what
white wine.
Yeah.
But I told her once to drink an Allagash White. So that's when if she wants
Yeah.
a beer, she
Yeah.
gets an Allagash White. But you would see that, like, people would come into Worthy and be like, I want an amber ale. And it's like, oh, well, I have a brown on. They're like, fine. Like,
Okay.
amber,
good point.
red, brown. As long as you're in that pocket, they're happy. It's the hopheads you gotta watch out for.
True.
Because they're gonna want 4 different IPAs that are all pretty much the same, but they want to hit every single one.
Yeah.
Check it into Untapped.
Yeah.
I mean, what's your opinion of that, right? Like, I feel like the hopheads are these like vocal minority, right? On these apps,
Everything.
Instagram, whatever,
Yeah.
Twitter. But yeah, I feel like all these breweries that we're going to, and I know it's totally brewer driven, lagers, pilsners. I mean, I think the market's swinging towards that.
I was very vocal in like 2018 that's where it was going. Like as a bartender, like talking to distributors and talking to patrons and being like, watch out. You can't, the precipitous rise of IPAs can only go so far when even like I was a big IPA hophead. I'd rather try something different.
Yeah.
I'd rather just do something different.
But also, if you think about the masses, right? What do the masses drink? They drink Bud Light or whatever, right? Miller's Coors, whatever it is. So, of course, if you have a craft lager on tap, you could offer that to them and they're going to drink it.
Yeah, the best you're going to get is like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, right. But if you mean, exactly. Fair enough.
You talk about Untapped and you'll see like, I love this lager. It's amazing. 3.5.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's true.
It's
true.
But it's even like for me, it's like IPAs where you drink one, right? And you're like, oh man, I still have the flavor from the last one in my mouth. Where Pilsner, lager,
It's refreshing and
Yeah.
delicious.
delicious, the best.
So when I got hired here, they kind of do it with all the employees. It's like, brew house is yours for the day. What do you want to make? I wanted to make a Mexican lager.
Oh,
Cool.
nice.
So Heatwave is our Mexican lager. We actually just packaged some up last week. I forever am in love with that beer. It's perfect with the lime.
Awesome.
That is like that's my beer.
Is that like your desert island beer?
No, my desert island beer is one of us will have to bury the other. It's a burial, other half Mexican lager, Foder aged Mexican lager.
Oh my god.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. I ordered some when they were still shipping. I ordered a case of it, and like 6 of them showed up broken, and I was so upset.
Yeah.
I'd cry.
they're in like clear glass bottles.
Oh my
like a
God.
Foil label. It's one of the most beautiful things you'll ever see.
That's great. That's great.
All right. So we promise this episode won't show up to your doorsteps broken. But we have to keep the lights on at the Brewers Podcast. So take it away, Ryan.
Are you a solo artist, band, podcaster, or anyone else who needs recording services?
Well, we got a place for you where your vision can become a reality.
Welcome to Small Pond Studios, built by hand with heart and sweat equity by musicians for musicians.
Go to smallpondstudios.io to reach out to get more information. And make sure you let them know that Brute sent you. Hey, Sound Guy Ryan here. Didn't know if you heard, but we're a part of the Hopped Up Network. There you'll find other informative podcasts about beer, So go ahead, follow them on social media, and visit them on their website, hoppedupnetwork.com, to learn more about the people, beer, and breweries from around the country. And until next time, thanks for listening. Cheers.
So we were kind of talking off air about how it's important to keep local. We were talking about a local butchery that you support. What is it about Vermont? The brewery, like we were talking about Alchemist, they were friggin' big. Montrap, big. Seems like the community is the big aspect of Vermont. And you guys do beer pretty well.
Yeah, we try. I think it's one thing I will say is I've been in a lot of industries. Beer is the most welcoming. Beer
I'm glad in Vermont it is, because I've heard elsewhere.
Okay. So let me, asterisk. The brewing community in Vermont is amazing.
Cool.
With very few exceptions, everyone is come play with us. Come play in our pool. Come see what we do.
That's
Let's
cool.
see what you do. Let's brew a beer together. Let's fucking drink together.
Yeah.
It's I've been in a lot of industries where everything is so very guarded, and it's like,
Oh, yeah.
we're all
That's the
using
point.
most of the same grain.
Right.
There's like a dozen hops we all just wind up using. Like,
It's true.
there's like 3 yeast purveyors. Like,
Yeah.
you're not, there's no secret to the sauce anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, there is, but yeah,
It's all the same ingredients, like you say. I mean, like, whatever.
You're not doing, what are you mashing in at 155?
Right.
I'm mashing in at 156. Holy shit.
Oh, it's going to be so crazy.
This is how I get my haze. But it's like any collaboration, you always walk away with like one thing. Every collaboration I've done, I've walked away with like, so I'm going to do it different. I'm going to
You learn a
change
little
the
something.
thing that I'm doing at my brewery. And then also, holy shit, did you see what they just did?
Yeah, exactly.
Never doing that again.
Yeah, elbowing my buddy Tim, like, did you fucking see that?
That's a huge OSHA violation.
Speaking of that, you were talking earlier about using different thiol yeast.
Yes.
So, very curious. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this yet. What do you think?
So I think it's a very interesting new tool. I think it's...
For our listeners who may not know what that is, can we?
Yeah, let's start at the beginning. What is this?
So thiols, I just got a nice little introduction to thiols. So thiols are they're a sulfur-based compound. Usually tend to be relatively volatile, kind of an aromatic. You'll see them a lot in Nelson Sauvignon hops, wine. So there's Phantasm, which is like a powdered grape must. Really what you're trying to do is you're trying to create this amount of thiol precursors that then during biotransformation, the compounds change in a scientific way that I'm way too stupid to know. But you'll see those like peach and white wine and grape flavors that you wouldn't normally see from, just utilizing regular hops and yeasts. We had this interview, this presentation by the owner of Omega. So he was talking about there are 2 different yeast. Well, there's
a lot now.
multiple yeast
Yeah,
strains. Yeah. So there's Cosmic Punch. We've used that before. And then this most recent round, we used Heliogazer.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the names are getting almost as linked
They're
as
crazy. It's so
cannabis
much fun.
names.
And their art,
Their art is super
so
cool.
great and so
Yeah,
fantastic. We really found out, like talking to this guy, that like 90% of the stuff we're doing with this new Heliogazer, we don't need to be doing.
Yeah.
All the mash hopping that they recommend, all the honestly kind of Phantasm, like the numbers for that yeast strain are so next level, out of control that like you're able to cut down we're able to cut down our hop utilization from like 3 pounds a barrel to I'm going to try to get it down to 1.
Really? So
shit.
you can use less hops but get the same amount of aromas and flavor.
So it amplifies.
That's
the-
crazy.
Like
That's pretty cool.
no hot side whatsoever. Like maybe a bittering just to stave off infection.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then no whirlpool. I'm going to push to go to a single stage dry hop. Just
Nice.
Just to try it, like
right at terminal just to get some biotransformation.
Sure.
All the flavors are coming from the yeast.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so it's the way that I've been describing it is dark beers tend to be kind of malt driven, IPAs hop driven, Belgian beer yeast driven. This is a yeast driven IPA. So
Very cool.
So does that change maybe your opinion on what the most important ingredient in beer is?
water.
Water. So, okay, yeah. So,
with the malts, the way they are these days, and that was one of the interesting thing too in the thiol presentation is you think you're getting it from these hops that are heavy in thiol precursors.
Right. That's what I always thought too.
Yeah, you think it's hops or the phantasm powder. There's actually you get more thiols from the malt. Like the level of thiols you get from brewer malt is way past what you're going to see.
Is there any specific malt as like pale malt versus?
Just said 2-row.
Yeah.
Really?
Just regular brewing base 2-row.
Wow. That's really cool. And so you've actually already brewed beers with this kind of yeast.
Yeah.
And so how did it come out? Was it good? Bad?
Yeah, it was enough that we bought more Phantasm. We did it again.
Cool.
The Phantasm is super expensive.
Yeah. But anything that's new and kind of hasn't caught
Also,
on.
are you using Phantasm instead of like that mega yeast you were talking about?
So we've been using them in conjunction.
Okay.
To try to because everything we were reading was about boosting the amount of thiol precursors in there before biotransformation. Mm-hmm. And then once we had that interview, had that presentation, the guy was just like, yeah, you guys don't need to be doing that.
Shit.
But cool. So it's I am not going to pretend to know anything about this.
Good.
But they use CRISPR, which is like gene splicing. So
what?
Yeah, the first one had this like specific yeast. I think it was like an IR7. Never mind. The other one is like a bacteria thing that like I would highly recommend looking into it. It will make you go to sleep super
Love
fast.
it. Love it. That's what I'll do tonight.
Delicious.
Listen, send us the links. We're going to put in the doobly doo below. Yeah. You want to read it? You read it?
Yeah.
And you fall right to sleep, and it's going to be great. Best sleep of your life.
And I will read it. I'll try to do the too long didn't read and maybe start some controversy on it.
Yeah. Scott Janish. I mean, I'm a home brewer at heart, so like Scott Janish always was super helpful. I mean, I remember like being at work, my manufacturing job, like messaging him back and forth about water profiles, like while I was on the clock. He's super. He started Sapwood Cellar in Maryland.
Oh, okay.
Him and another guy were like really big homebrew advocates. Is Brewlosophy and Scott Janish. I can't remember the other guy's name. He was like super helpful to just like some idiot on Reddit that was like, well, water's not tasting right. I don't know what to do. And he's like, oh, I'll check this thing. And I was like, I don't even know what that means. You're going way over my head.
Yeah.
But he has a really great article on thiolized yeast.
Very cool.
Yeah, check
Very
that out.
cool.
All right, so obviously we're in Vermont, and we want our listeners to come and try Oktoberfest beer if it's not available in your local markets, but also come to the area.
Definitely do.
Yeah, so where can people have your beer?
So we have a very small, so like I said, First Drop, Cloud Drop, all the big boys, go to your local supermarket, go to your local corner store, more than likely going to find us there in kind of New England, except for Connecticut. I don't think we're in Connecticut. And then, for the Tunbridge stuff, come see me. Sweet. Come hang out. We have our tasting room. Well, soon to be kind of tasting room. We have a kind of a small distribution pocket, but if you're in Vermont and you want to see us somewhere, message us.
Cool.
We are a very small crew of like 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But I will personally drive beer to places and to people just because like, I think
You want to spread the good word.
I think we do cool shit, and I don't think people know enough about what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Speaking of the cool shit, I'd be remiss if we did not mention the beer that I drank. Yeah. Talk about the beer that we're drinking.
Yeah.
We're drinking.
We're drinking. Yeah, you're still drinking it. We're just.
I think there's another bottle. So that's Bronnier Stomp. That was a saison that we did. I've been chasing this saison flavor for a really long time that I've been trying to recreate or find. Low ester, dry, kind of French, not sour. Not like when you get into like Hill, like, they have a very like specific template for their saisons. I don't want that sour, funky, bready kind of flavor. I just want it dry and low estery.
Yep.
I can't find it yet.
This is definitely right along that, though.
Yeah. So when we brewed that, I wasn't super happy with it. And then
it mellowed out.
It mellowed out like crazy. So we Chardonnay, second use Chardonnay barrel, put it in there, and we're not beholden to schedules, so it's kind of like I
want to remember about it.
Yeah. So we have a couple barrel projects that are going on right now that we started last January that we're just pulling nails. We're like, we might want to blend it, we might want to do something with it, but like it's just not ready.
Yeah.
It's just
That's awesome.
So back to this. So it started its life as a saison, went into the Chardonnay barrel. I think it was like 6 or 9 months. and then bottle carbonated it with. I think we were doing agave at that point because that was around the same time that we did Wooden Heart, which was the tequila barrel aged, a mezcal barrel aged Belgian triple, and that got agave as its priming. So
Cool.
yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. All right. Also, we like to shout out some local places.
Yes.
So if you are in the area, it's the best place to get a burger, best dive bar, and Erica. I love putting you on the spot.
I know. What should the last one be? Ryan, do you have any ideas?
Outdoor activity.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right, so best burger, I'm going to have to say Worthy Burger in South Royalton because if not, my ex-boss, Jason Merrill, would come to my house and murder me.
Yep.
That being said, there's also a really cool place in Fairleigh called Broken Hearts Burger. I really like those guys a lot. They're doing some really cool stuff over there. Best dive bar.
You don't have those in Vermont.
You don't, but you kind of do. So again, South Royalton Crossroads. It's a shell of its former self. There used to be like harrowing stories about that place. It's now just like a, PBR and a shot kind of
Cool.
place.
Cool. That's all right.
Into it.
Yeah, and then outdoor activity. I'm like one of those few Vermont people that like I'm just a fucking indoor kid.
That's
like,
all right. That's
I grew
all
up on
right.
video games.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Mount Peg Mount Tom in Woodstock is really nice. Get a cool view. There's so many people here right now specifically for
Leap peepas.
the peepers.
It's a nice, easy hike, too.
Yeah. Tom's super easy.
Yeah.
I'm a big boy. I'm not trying to, do camel's back hump. Or,
Camel's hump? No.
Yeah, I'm more of a gondola and a joint kind of guy. But
Where can you go for a gondola and a joint?
I think somebody around here has one probably in their yard.
Okay.
No,
That's a good point. Those are in yards. Yes.
the farm that you pass on the way up here, they have a rope tow like on the hill and the
Sick.
Yeah, it just sits there. I think it's Circadian 6 now. It used to be Suicide 6. I used to go there when I worked at Worthy. My friends would have like their kids doing, like
Ski lessons or
and
something,
we're just
yeah.
at the bar. Like,
That's awesome.
Sounds like the dream.
Done.
yeah.
Done and done.
That's how I go skiing.
Love it.
And then our listeners that may be abroad and all that stuff, follow them on Instagram. What's your social medias?
So Upper Pass Beer, you can find us there. Send us a message. I'll say hello.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Well, AJ, thanks for doing this today.
No, thank you
was
guys for
awesome.
coming.
Yeah, this is right as fuck.
Yeah, no, this is super great. We don't get a lot of people out here kind of by design. You saw Welly came in and ran and did a loop and made sure
that
it
was the
cool.
best part of the internet. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, you were cool and all,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
that
But
dog.
that dog was perfect.
Damn.
Yeah.
So there was one of the other, we did two Cosmic Punch, the Thiol beers, and one of them was called Cosmic Welly. Oh. So we have Welly Nelson, which is a beer we do up at Trap.
That's awesome.
That's got him. So his full name is Welly Nelson.
That's great.
And he's got the braids and stuff. So we wanted to do it here. And I was like, let's send him to fucking space.
Yeah.
So it's got he's got the full
Space helmet.
on. We got the Ziggy Stardust
Lightning
thing.
bolt. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Great.
it's not going out of state. So we can kind of do whatever we want with the label. We don't have to ask permission for
Wait,
it.
do you have any of those kicking around?
I can look. I think I might have some.
I just kind of want the sticker.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Well, sweet. No, thank
this
you
is
guys
awesome.
again. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Thanks, AJ.
Cheers.
Cheers.